This story takes place not long after I left the Navy and attempted to return to civilian life. It's an easy thing for some folks, but for me, there were tribulations that complicated it. I sort of went hobo for a few years there, wandering through various places and occasionally tracking down obscure branches of my family and spending time with them. I had a small line of cousins in West Virginia, and this story took place there. First off, West Virginia can be absolutely gorgeous, very densely forested, lots of mountains and hills. It was amazing. It had its ugly side, sure, most of that being found in its people. But away from the cities and up in the hills, man, it's amazing. I guess the best description I could give is from a movie like Last of the Mohicans. There were waterfalls and pretty damn majestic cliffs. The forests were just mind-boggling and so open and clear. It's weird though, for all the goddamn grandeur of the place, the locals spent their time doing the stupidest things to keep themselves entertained. Hanging out in front of the local Dairy Queen parking lot seemed to be Richwood's chief social ritual. These kids would pull up in their pickup trucks, talk shit, and smoke pot until 3 in the morning. Occasionally, there would be some half-hearted racing, usually at least a handful of fights and screwing. They had some decent pot though, I'll give them that. Homegrown stuff. Some of it skunkweed, yeah, but enough of it was noticeably nice. I was shacking up at a great aunt's place and had just taken to heading down there with one of my cousins every night for the past week or so. Sure, I spent plenty of time just kind of wandering around in the hills, but these folks at the DQ were just sort of oddly fascinating. I could tell them stories as barter for various things, and I made a solid amount of spending cash, cigarettes, and whatever else for doing it. These guys were stupid for Tryst too. Some guy whose claim to fame was high school football heroics made a name for himself one night by setting his beard on fire. I don't think he realized exactly how fast it was going to go up, or what kind of damage it was going to do in that short amount of time, but in under a minute he went from looking like a rugged lumberjack to a screaming chemo patient. No one gave half a shit for him either. His brothers just loaded him up in their shitty pickup truck and drove him down to the clinic. One night we're down there and I had made friends with this big doofus named Winston, or something or other, that everyone called Winny. To put it politely, I'm pretty sure Winny was either retarded or just inbred, or likely both. He was half again my size, his eyes were a bit too far apart, and he had this hilarious slow manner of speech, which combined with the local accent, a curiously exaggerated southernish sound, made him sound twice as stupid as he actually was. I may be mean-mouthing him, but we were friends. There was something I liked about the guy. Yeah, he was kind of like a kid, and sure, he could probably be dangerous if he lost his temper, but normally he was just this really damn friendly guy who just seemed to want to be liked, and didn't get any of the jokes others had at his expense. He just liked that they laughed when he was around. These locals could get fucking nasty too. Something about the younger ones, they had eyes like raccoons, just looking for something to grab onto with their grubby little paws and chew at. Winnie's best attribute is that he didn't even understand their bullying. Dude ate up my stories like they were candy too. And this encouraged me to elaborate on them further just to entertain him more. I could tell some real whoppers with this guy, and he took him as gospel. It was beautiful. I'm telling him stories about how I saved a handful of beautiful Japanese women from evil World War II shoguns who just never gave up the fight, and said rescue involved me at some point beating a tiger to death with my own severed arm, and he is wide-eyed and absolutely thunderstruck. This guy ended up following me around every time I went to one of these little get-togethers, which, if I'm not mistaken, is how they got to calling me the Tard Wrangler, which I wasn't much appreciative of. The one time the get-together deviated from the DQ parking lot was to have a bonfire out in the middle of the woods. There were sure to be some more liberties to be had out there, where the local cops couldn't idly cruise by. I was eager for it, and a few of the girls gave me directions on the promise that I'd either tell them some more of my weird stories about my travels, or bring a six-pack with me. I opted for both and then some, spending what little left of my money I had to buy a case or two, which Winnie was more than happy to lug around for me. Dude was tireless. He liked beer just fine, but was more partial to soda and Capri Suns. We showed up at 8 or 9, and the bonfire was already going pretty decent. People were drunk as hell and loud. The fire was big enough, I guess. Lots of random shit just set to burn. I distinctly remember a wicker chair in there. They had guns all over the place too, mostly shitty 22s and a few double barrels, but I heard handguns occasionally. They were shooting up in the air and off to the sides, blinking hands, and somebody got pissed when the back tires of his Toyota got blown to shit. I'm not big on guns, really. They bother me. That probably seems weird, but with that many drunk assholes around and most of them armed, someone was bound to do something lethally stupid. Winny and I got to schmoozing and being social. I had initially decided for some god-awful reason to see if I could get the big doofus laid. There were plenty of pretty girls thereabouts. They had this farmer's daughter thing going on that's kind of irresistible, really. Clean cute faces, hell, freckles even, and then bam, tits on display. I'd dipped around enough, and the girls were willing, no problem about that. I'd figured I'd chat one up with Winny in tow and maybe talk him up some and get a kick when she drug him off behind some bushes. I find a likely pair of girls and get to talking. I'm not really drinking much, and Winny's pretty much just packing away the cokes. The girls were fairly fucking smashed though. The taller of the two had some amazingly dark brown hair that hung down to her waist, and a body like a violin. She was wearing cut-off shorts, and actually had a pretty respectable tan going on. I've no doubt that this one had some Cherokee in her either. Her eyes and cheeks said as much. The other was a bit more like cello, but had a chest that pirates would kill a man over before burying somewhere. She was blonde though, and I'm not partial to those. Hell, I figured I'd take the violin and maybe do a duet with her off somewhere nice, and give Winny some pointers on the cello. I'd heard a kick-ass rendition of a Kansas song on a cello once, and figured Winny should be able to figure out a passable version of that. Anyone knows are shared, ludities are dropped, and I may have pitched a horrible limerick or three. Winny's over there being beautifully oblivious to the delicate interplay going on. One thing I'll give West Virginia's girls is that when they decide that they've really been sold on something, they can be pretty outright about getting to it. It's refreshing, really. A little bit of chat, and bam, her hand is in your pants. Throughout this, I'd been chatting Winny up pretty solid, talked about how my cousin had a flat a few days ago, and the big galoot damn near picked up the whole first half of the car and whatnot. Blonde girl is swaying on her feet and giving him some come-hither looks. I nudge Winny and pull him off to the side and give him some basic rules of engagement. Now, I know how I was harping on about how dumb this guy was, but he caught on pretty fast after I laid it all out for him. I give him my basic rule. If she starts saying no, or fussing and acting all unhappy-like, then you just stop whatever it is you're doing. Take her hand gently and ask her to tell you exactly what she wants. You got that, big guy? Winny is all goofy smiles and bright eyes. Oh yeah, I seen the pictures. I smile and nod. Just don't start screaming or twist her head off or nothing like that. Winny shakes his head. No, of course not a chance of that happening. Cello girl takes him by the hand and leads him out of the firelight, off to some dark corner of the woods, and I take my Cherokee girl off to some high rocks on the far side. I will not go into any details except to say that as best I could figure, that girl did not have any tan lines at all. Just kind of a nice coffee color to her all over. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself when I get a poke between my shoulder blades. Now I'm in sort of a state that might be called involved and don't notice it the first time. The poke comes again though, a bit more insistent and forceful, and I'm a bit, what the fuck? Violin girl's eyes damn near bug out of her head and she grabs her top, hissing out, "Oh, for the love of Jesus." It's Winny and he has this morose look on his face, completely unashamed of having interrupted my current engagement. "Mr. Latrans, she done gone run off on me. What do I do?" he says. I'm looking at him for a moment and my Cherokee girl takes this time to make herself scarce. Damn it. I take a big sigh and look up at him while I'm getting my fix in order and ask him, "What in the twisted snakes are you talking about, Winny?" "She done run off into the woods. She ain't there no more. What do I do?" "Did you grab her rough or snap anything?" "No, I was being real gentle like. She said it was okay." "And then she just got up and left?" "Yup." "Right in the middle of it?" "Yup." "Oh shit." I figured maybe she just cut and run on the big guy or something and did it in a suitably crafty enough manner to leave him dumbfounded, which really wouldn't be too difficult. I calm him down and figure we might as well chase after and see what's up. I wasn't wanting to make a scene or anything, just make sure the guy hadn't had a black moment or something and done a thing we'd both regret. He takes me down to where they were doing their thing and I see his shirt and her clothes kind of spread out, so they'd have something comfortable to lay on. Her clothes were still there. What the hell? "Winny, she ran off naked?" I asked. He nods. "Yeah." I'm having a think and ask him which direction did she go and run off to, cause it sure as hell wasn't back to camp. He points off to a dark part of the forest, near where the mountainside is, more like a cliff, and jabs in that direction. Oh shit. Winnie, was she giggling and laughing and shit when she ran off? Yup. Oh, you doofus. You're supposed to chase after her ass. You said to be careful and not to move too fast. Yeah, I did say that. Well, shit. Listen, it's this thing girls do. They make you chase them, and then they run around like idiots, and then you play wrestle them down, and you know what? Fuck it. Let's go make sure she didn't get eaten by a cougar, stupid ass drunk hillbilly. I ain't drunk. I wasn't talking about you, Winnie. Come on. And so we went, leaving behind the bonfire and the gunshots and the noise, right out into the woods towards that cliff. If anyone here is familiar with West Virginia, they know it's very much a coal mining state. I'm pretty sure a large amount of horrible mine collapses and stuff have occurred over the years, if not in West Virginia, then in other areas nearby. The mountains are riddled with old shafts and openings. A few times while I was out wandering, I've almost stumbled right into a vent or a shaft that was all overgrown. I wasn't too surprised then when we came to a half-collapsed mine entrance on the side of that cliff. I'm feeling a little queasy, but I figure the stupid thing probably ran her ass in there for some privacy. Winnie's got kind of a blank look on his face at the moment and isn't offering any insightful observations. I didn't have much on me but a lighter, having given my old trusty little flashlight away to a friend before I left the service, so I light it up and head in. I figure she can't have gone too far in, right? It's dark as hell. We get a couple of feet in, and sure enough, just at the edge of the little circle of light my fire's making, I can see for a second a curve of pale thigh. She giggles and moves off deeper into the dark. I'm thinking, God damn it, the drunk ass is still playing her games and is likely more than not to get herself killed. I holler at her and we keep going. Listen chick, whatever your name is, enough games. Come on now, let's head back. This shit is unsafe, you hear me? All I get in answer is another stupid flirty giggle, a brief glimpse of some tits, and maybe a shoulder, and she goes deeper yet. I'm starting to get a little pissed. I was having some decent fun. Hell, Winnie was getting his too. And now we have to play games with some drunk hillbilly in an abandoned mine, of which there were hundreds of up in these hills. If something went wrong, the chances of us being found were nil, especially since the locals didn't tell the cops shit about what they were up to out here. I keep going, and we turn a corner, turn another one, keep going down chasing the staffy giggling bitch. Winnie stumbles a few times on the old rusted tracks that were splayed out every which way and gets to complaining that it's stuffy and smells bad in here. I'm about to whip into him when I realize something. He's right, it does smell goddamn bad in here. At first I counted it was due to the trash and old condoms and shit, but we'd long since gone past that point. There wasn't anything down this far except rocks and dust. Bad shit maybe? No, guano smells different, makes your eyes water. This smells like that shit you get in the back of your throat when you've had strep. Those weird, grungy yellow nuggets of congealed mucus that when coughed out smells like horrendous rotten ass. It smelled something like that. Meanwhile, the flirting ninja is still dancing out of my flickering little light, which is starting to sputter and has gone out 2 or 3 times now. It's also hot as shit. The feeling comes in slow and powerful. I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck go, oh shit, Canis. I stop, and Winnie bumps into me. I turn and look over at him, and he's still got that blank look on his face. Ruh-roh, Shaggy. My name's Winnie. I snort back a laugh and give him a solid look. Winnie, we need to get ourselves out of here, I think. This girl is gonna get us killed. We can't just leave her to get hurt down here. He's looking concerned now, and it's a genuine concern, which is pretty awesome. I'm trying to remember how long we've been chasing this girl and how many turns we've made. It's more than 3, and hell, my ring of light doesn't do much. How many side passages had we passed that I hadn't seen? Oh fuck me. This place is a goddamn maze, and all I have to get us out is this big lighter that is currently burning the shit out of my thumb, and she is still fucking giggling right over there, a stone's throw. I start pushing Winnie back and say, come on big guy, she'll follow us out. Let's get back up topside. This place smells wrong, innit? He gives me this mournful look and nods, and we start going back. The giggling is following. Always just out of full reach of my light. Can't see but bits and pieces of pale skin and curves. Never eyes and no hands either. How the hell is she getting by down here? I've been in enough weird situations to figure this might be one of them by now. We're heading back and she's following us when I slam right into an old knocked over minecart. just laying on its side in the middle of the tunnel. Immediately, alarms go off in my head. Oh fuck me, we didn't pass a minecart. Oh fuck, we've gone turned around. My lighter goes out as I'm still reeling from this disturbing revelation, and I hear from right behind us. I fiercely get to clicking my bic, and eventually it sputters up half-acidly, and I can see her pull back into the shadows. She was close this time, touching close. I didn't see much. I saw her form and figure, the hips and chest, but the feet were all wrong. It was brief, but burned into my eyes there. I'm sure in hindsight it could have been a trick of the light, but at that moment, I wasn't wasting my time trying to validate and explain what I had seen with logic or common sense. Her feet were pointed, featureless, like spikes. From calf down, they just kept on tapering until they reached a point that she was walking on and scuttled back into the shadows with. I can hear a giggle and that weird breathy come over here noise girls make when they want your attention. Normally, it's sexy as hell, but my blood's running cold and miserable right now because of it. Winnie steps in close and is staring off in her direction and says, "That ain't her." I'm a bit aghast but manage to respond, "You know, you aren't half as dumb as people say you are, Winnie," which gets a smile out of him. We're trying to find a way back as best we could. I had Winnie up in the front and warned to watch his footing because falling down a shaft now would be pretty much the end of our party tonight. As he was going forward, I had my back to his and was watching behind, walking backwards for every step he took. I'm breathing real careful. My lighter's going out of fuel and that light is just shrinking. And if I breathe on it funny, well fuck. She's keeping up with us too, always right at the edge, and that edge is getting closer. I don't even have a goddamn knife on me. Stupid. How the hell did I not bring one? Or borrow a gun from one of those sister fucking rednecks up at that bonfire? Stupid. Stupid. This is going so poorly. Winnie is concentrating on forging a path back up, but I can hear him sighing and getting a bit frustrated, banging his head a few times on the low ceiling. 1. I've got this thing following us, and I can almost see it for what it is, and it isn't good. 2. I'm really hoping Winnie doesn't lose his temper and go apeshit with me right next to him. I'm missing Tony right about now. Then I hear the damnedest thing in between her steps. I can hear kind of a far-off tapping. It's ringing, metal on metal, tap, 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 real regular-like. Winnie immediately sort of hones in on that noise, zones out, and starts moving towards it. Got taps in one direction and ticks in another. Her hands and legs are the same way. Oh god damn it. She has the same tapering points on her arms as her legs, and I can just about see her face. It's smiling, but it's all wrong. It's all out of proportion. Her eyes are spread and her nose is flat, and I still have no idea where we are. I've given up figuring a way out to a big guy who's about as complex a thinker as Bambi the Prince of the Forest. He just keeps going though, and I'm trying to find something to burn so I can keep the light up. Searching my pockets for some paper or something, I managed to find the receipt for the beer we bought earlier and light that shit up. There's a brief small flare of light, and I see this thing kind of bounce back into the dark and go up the side like gravity doesn't matter a whit to her. Like a spider, moving weird now, not pretending anymore. That tapping is still calling to Winnie, and my light is pretty much dead. Then I hear him tense up, and no shit, he actually says, "Yippee," or something damn close enough. My light goes flat dead, and I'm sucking in a breath and getting ready for it. I figure if this thing grabs me, I can maybe scream like an ass, or bite it, or something, I don't know. It takes me a second to realize that even though my light's gone out, I can still kind of see. Oh shit, that's moonlight. Fuck this, we are out. Winnie is walking, and I damn near bowl his ass over. Move, fucking move, move it man, move, move, move. I'm out with my feet hitting dirt in seconds, and Winnie is just kind of jogging after me. Whatever that thing was, it ain't coming out of that mineshaft after us. We're standing there, collecting ourselves, and I notice I could still hear that weird metal-on-metal tapping noise. It's coming from inside the mine, which is weird because, to us, it sounded like it was coming from outside, right? I'm figuring echoes or some shit, but I'm getting that distinct gut feeling that tells me, no, it isn't just echoes, man. I know she's right there at the mouth of that shaft, though. I can feel it. I'll take care of it. Trusty guy, me saying that immediately puts him back to normal. We get back to the party. Now, honestly, I have no idea how I'm going to take care of it. And in truth, I'm not really planning on even attempting it. As best I know, that dumb girl ran in there and got A. Lost, B. Eaten. And neither of those two possibilities mattered one fuck all to either me or Winny, so the discovery of both those girls back at camp, clothed and irritated as fuck, was kind of a nice reveal. Those two were back at the fire and puriously ignoring the hell right out of us. They were back to getting their drink on and chatting up with some local good old boys, and I'm wondering, well, what the fuck? Winny, when that girl ran off, do you remember which way she went? Winny shrugs and cracks open like beer number 2 or possibly soda number 13 and nods. Yeah, she went that way what we went. I gave him a long look. You sure about that? He starts to smile and nod, and then frowns and shakes his head. Nope. Oh, fuck me. Best we could figure from talking to the others was that Chillo girl had run off into some bushes wanting to play Catch Me If You Can, and had been waiting out there naked for quite a while before giving up, getting her clothes and finding her friend. She'd never even known about the goddamn mine, what was in it, or that weird knocking sound. Violin girl was giving me attitude because my big goofy buddy made an ass out of her best friend in blah 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 dumb shittery. It wasn't too long after that found me elsewhere out of West Virginia. Caught a ride with a trucker who was a solid dude and a former Marine to boot, so oorah to that. I gave Winny my empty Bic lighter though, and told him it was a good luck charm. I'd bet anything he still has it. There you go. West Virginia, beautiful place, stupid people, deep holes.